Hi everyone, Debbie here from emotionallysensitive.com, where I teach you the same skills that helped me to overcome borderline personality disorder. And today's topic is BPD and addicted to drama. Ooh, it's a good one. So, a majority of the people who have borderline personality disorder or BPD traits or emotional sensitivity, myself included, especially at the beginning of my journey and pre-diagnosis and even into the beginning of learning skills and receiving treatment and doing all sorts of things to try to help myself, we find ourselves oftentimes in the midst of chaos and in the midst of what others will look at and say, so much drama, and she's always doing this to herself, and it's always something with her, and she's always got something going on, or he's always, dealing with some type of big crisis. It's always all about him. And to an extent, I can accept that that was true for me, and maybe you're identifying with this as well. And talking about it right now is not about shaming you. It's not about saying, oh, you need to change that, or oh, when are you going to get over yourself? Oh, when are you going to stop creating all this chaos and drama around yourself? That doesn't work. Because if it worked, I would have stopped doing it years before I did, because I heard that kind of stuff all of the time. So each person's situation is going to be different, right? But for me, I was able to identify that in my personal situation, and I know that this may resonate with you on some level or in some way. I grew up in a chaotic, unstable, invalidating environment. There was abuse, there was neglect. And again, not everyone who has BPD or emotional sensitivity goes through this, but for me, this is part of my understanding of how I got to the place of being someone who created and attracted so much drama and chaos and crisis after crisis in my life. Because as a child, that is what my life looked like. So at any time, things could go from being really peaceful and really, seeming like things were going all right, to very scary, very dangerous, and very unpredictable in a flash. And it happened over and over and over again throughout my childhood. And then for me personally, I was also in foster care as a teenager and into young adulthood. So, in foster care, at least back when I was in it in Massachusetts years ago, I was bounced around, or I acted out in such ways that I was kicked out of or I ran away from foster home after foster home. So I was in a lot of different environments. So I had become so used to chaos and drama and crisis that it almost is as if I felt this need for it. And I know that might sound really weird to those of you who love us and that look from the outside and don't want us to be hurting and don't want us to be continuously self-sabotaging and repeating behaviors over and over, that to you as someone who doesn't have these issues might be looking and saying, when is she going to get it? When is he going to stop doing this? Well, for me, it took a lot of work. It really did take a lot of work. And it took a lot of building trust in myself and building confidence in myself and self-respect, and beginning to believe that I deserved to have stability and that I deserved to have a life that was free of constant crisis and constant chaos, and that I could get my needs met and take care of myself in a world and in a life where I wasn't constantly creating that stuff. And it took time to get there. It took first the realization and the acceptance and the willingness to admit that, yes, I have an issue with getting caught up in patterns of drama and chaos. And when I am feeling insecure, or I am feeling anxious, or I am feeling worried, or if I'm starting to even get nervous that it means the other shoe is going to drop or something bad's going to happen because things are just going a little bit too good, he's going to leave, or this job isn't going to work out, or this is going to happen because of what I learned as a child. That information informed me so that I could protect and take care of myself and survive as a child. And now that life is different and I'm an adult and things aren't that tumultuous and I'm not in dangerous situations and I can take care of myself, I need to reprogram those old tapes and start talking to myself differently and working with my therapist on how do I notice when these urges come up to get into old patterns, whatever they may be, whatever behavior it is that you might do that causes the drama or causes the chaos. And you might have a whole ton of them, like I did. And that was the process that I went through to get to the point where I could start to be comfortable with the fact that life isn't always going to have these sharp, sudden, chaotic moments that I would have to deal with and have that adrenaline flowing and get into survival mode and have everyone around me telling me that everything was going to be okay. That is how I began to get to that spot where I could do that. And it's not easy. It takes a lot of courage, and again, it takes a lot of trust. So one of the things that I used to do all the time is I would get so anxious when my partner, my boyfriend at that time, would need to go away on business, or he would need to travel away and be away overnight or longer. And I would get so sick that I would become dehydrated, and I eventually realized that there was so much more going on with that. But what I would then do was go to the emergency room. So they would have to take care of me, and they would have to give me the IV and monitor me and keep me there for hours and talk to me, and usually send someone from psychiatry to talk to me, because at that point it was obvious I was very anxious and that something beyond not feeling well physically was going on, that I was actually causing myself to be ill physically. And so I did that behavior for so many years, no kidding, for like 6, 7, 8, 9 years of showing up in the emergency room in that state and in that condition. And as I started to become better and started to learn skills and work on myself, I had friends and close people in my life who did start saying things like, you really have to stop doing this to yourself, and you can't keep ending up here, and do you know that you're in control? Do you realize you're making yourself sick? And initially, whoa, that was not information I could handle. I just shut down and got so angry and so mad and felt so invalidated and felt like, how could they accuse me of that? And how could they say such things? Look at me, I'm in the hospital bed, and they're saying it's my fault. It took me a while just to get from that place to a place where I said, well, what if I consider that these people love me and that maybe I am creating some of this? Maybe there's a part of me inside, some part of me who has experienced drama, which I knew that I had, who has experienced chaos, who has experienced crisis, who has learned that this is the way to take care of myself, but it's no longer working anymore. What if there's a morsel of truth to that? And what if acknowledging that and starting to think about it and work on it would allow me to come up with other ways to take care of that part of myself that gets activated and wants to thrive on that chaos and on that crisis type of behavior and environment and the excitement of it, if you will, because there is a level of excitement to it. So a little bit of something to think about, and to have compassion for yourself more than anything, because again, if you're behaving this way, there's a reason for it. There is cause for it. You're not just behaving this way out of the blue, or because you want to cause a scene, or because you don't care about other people or yourself. You're doing the best you can where you're at with what you have and what you know. And as soon as you start to know more, you can start to do different things and make different choices. So would love to hear your thoughts on this topic in the comments below, and I will respond, and look forward to seeing you in the next video, and of course over at my website at emotionallysensitive.com. Bye for now.